Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is a newly crowned IFBB Pro. Today's guest is Dom Triveline. Dom, welcome to the podcast.
Hey man, thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So I think this is number 3 for you on the podcast, Dom. First time introducing you as an IFBB Pro, which is cool for you. It's also cool for me, man. So what I kind of want to do, Dom, is I just kind of want to talk about North Americans. Let's kind of just recap, even though I had you on before North Americans, we kind of talked about the prep as a whole. Just touch lightly on how the prep went, maybe compared to other preps. And then we'll kind of get into the specifics of peak week and actually competition day. So how was prep kind of overall for you?
So that's probably the best prep I've ever had. We had no issues. It was like smooth sailing the whole way. I was 100% perfect the entire prep, all 15 weeks. I never missed a meal, never missed cardio, never missed training, subs, like anything at all. I was 100% the entire prep, which is like been a first for me because I've had so many terrible preps over the years that have probably cost me a few wins. So the prep was smooth, easy. Well, it was difficult, but like I wasn't dying like it was miserable kind of thing. Um, which led into a smooth peak week as well.
Okay, now before we get into peak week and talking about competition day, I want you to touch on like you said, you hit all your meals. You had a perfect prep in terms of hitting all your meals, hitting all your training sessions. Like just talk about that alone in terms of how much confidence that gives you going into peak week, going into a pro qualifier. I mean, you know, when you have that perfection in that sense of prep, I mean, did that really give you a strong sense of confidence going into that peak week?
Oh, absolutely. Like had I have not been perfect like I was like the year prior at North Americans, that was a really bad prep. I had zero confidence at the show. I just remember being backstage and I'm like, damn, I'm lucky if I get first call outs. And I ended up getting first call out dead center, but yeah, it was a huge like mental relief because I felt so confident going into the show that I just knew I was gonna win.
Hmm. Excellent, man. Okay, so why don't you talk us through peak week? When did you get into Pittsburgh? And then why don't you just talk a little bit about what your peak week looked like in terms of like, training, carving up, kind of all that stuff, getting ready to step on stage for prejudging.
Yeah, so like kind of peak week as a whole, we started 7 days out. um, the first day of peak week, I actually took an off day, and then I just trained single body parts up and through Monday. So I believe like Friday I did shoulders, Saturday I did back, Sunday chest, and Monday I got to Pittsburgh, um, did arms. So that was my last single body part day. And we were tapering off cardio at that point because previously I was doing like 40 minutes fasted and 30 minutes at night and then training middle of the day. And I would say about the last like 10 days, it just became fasted sessions only. We, at about probably 12 days out, we removed the PM session because I was ready at 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks out. I could have stepped on stage. So another thing we did at 2 weeks out, which Matt always does this, is we eliminate any seasonings, condiments. I'm not a big like condiment or seasoning person. Like I use night or when I eat ground beef, I put taco seasoning on it. So we take that out at 2 weeks out, and then on my chicken and rice, I put that low sodium soy, the Kikkoman's soy sauce. So we take that out. We removed all like intra workout powders, like any supplements with flavorings, anything with artificial sweeteners, no energy drinks. So like just water and salt and food. Um, my weight dropped from just doing that, a couple pounds. So we were ready. The cardio decreased. We were probably doing high food days every 2 to 3 days just to keep my body stable. So I would do a high food day. I probably wouldn't gain any weight. Sometimes we had to do two in a row. I would go up, and then like the next day or the day after, I'd hit a new low weight and we'd do it again. And we did that up and through the show. For peak week, I believe we did a high carb day on that Thursday, which was actually an off day. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday was my baseline diet, but we added a little bit of food to it to keep, you know, things from coming down too much. I got into Pittsburgh Monday, which Monday morning I hit a new low weight. And then we started the carb up process Tuesday. And that's when Matt got into town, was on Tuesday as well. So Tuesday, this was pretty cool. Generation Iron is actually filming a documentary for Raw and Revive. And Generation Iron pretty much followed me and Matt around all week, just filming us. So I'm going to be in the documentary, and which is pretty awesome. That'll be huge. Now for the Tuesday, that's when we started to manipulate water. So I was drinking 6 liters every day, and then Tuesday we were doing 8 ounces of water with a meal, 14 ounces of water in between meals. I know this is super specific, but people always love the specifics of this. And we lowered my protein down a little bit. I think I was doing like 5 ounces of cooked meat. I was doing 96 4-ground beef and white fish. So alternating those, like 3 fish meals and 3 beef meals a day. We just carved up on jasmine rice, and then fat sources was macadamia nut oil. That was Tuesday. So a typical meal would look like 170 grams or 150 grams of cooked fish or 96.4 beef. We started at about 320 grams of cooked rice. And I believe as the day went on, we got up to like 380. And then we would have like 15 grams of macadamia nut oil with each meal. And then Wednesday, this was like a mega food day. This is where it gets pretty interesting. Pretty much everything we did Tuesday, my body just ran through it. Like nothing happened. I was the same low weight the next morning. I weighed in Tuesday, actually backtracking today, at 210.2 pounds. And Wednesday, we started more high food. So we started with 380 grams of rice in the first meal, like 20 grams of mac oil, ground beef. And then it titrated up to about 600 grams of cooked rice per meal. So I remember the largest meal was 150 grams of 96.4 cooked beef, 600 grams of cooked jasmine rice, 30 grams of macadamia nut oil, and a banana, and with 3 ounces of water. So at this point, like Matt does a very hard water pull. So I was doing 3 ounces with a meal and 3 ounces in between. And then I think after the fourth meal, it was just 3 ounces with the meal. We cut out the in between water. So eating like it was literally like 5 cups of cooked rice with 3 ounces of water was not the easiest thing, but that's what did the trick. I filled out. I kept looking better the more food we ate. So in the Tuesday and Wednesday, I think I consumed over 5,000 grams of cooked rice. I consumed an entire bottle of macadamia nut oil in 2 days, and a lot of beef and fish. And it was very simple, very clean, like no dirty food at all. We occasionally threw a banana in there. I think I had like 3 bananas. And that was probably my favorite part because I had no sugar for 15 weeks. Actually 16 weeks because we did no cheat meals the entire prep. So eating the banana was like a treat. And that's one of the first things I eat when I get off stage. So yeah, we did that and woke up Thursday morning. And the purpose of loading so heavily Wednesday was that I didn't have to eat a lot on show day to keep my midsection in control, which we did a great job on. I was commended on that. So I think I had one meal before prejudging, which was like 200 grams of rice with a little bit of fish and oil. And that was probably 4 hours before prejudging. And that was pretty much it the day of the show.
Okay, now you said something about like 2 weeks out, you guys eliminated all condiments and things like that. Now, what is I've heard other Matt Jansen athletes bring this up as well. What is the specific reason for that, Dom?
I think those kind of things that are like extremely high in maybe sodium or like artificial sweeteners can have some type of like water retention. I think we just try to eliminate like any possible variables that could cause any difference, even if it's like a very minuscule amount of difference. We just try to eliminate that.
Okay.
So like only drinking just water and I was only using salt and pepper.
Now, on our pre North Americans chat, I know we kind of talked about your digestion issues or struggles, and that's something I think in the past, you were pretty hardly critiqued on was your gut control and things like that. So, um, uh, and if I remember right, you said that Matt had you going to get like a cleanse pretty regularly. So how did the digestion and all of that kind of go towards the end of prep and into peak week? And did you do anything during your off season or during this prep to really help with that waist and that gut?
So starting at about 4 weeks out, I was doing a suppository every morning. When I hit a certain body fat percentage and you're eating such low food, like my body just doesn't want to go to the bathroom. And the food would just build up. And what happened is in preps years prior, you'd have like 4 days of built up food in my stomach. That's why it's so big. So we started that, which kept me regular. And we did that all the way through, even the morning of the show. And that pretty much alleviated any issues. Um, I do use a very like potent revived digestion stack, which has been a game changer. I use the Revive Fiber, which and the chocolate flavor, which is absolutely delicious, man. It's like a treat every morning. I do 10 grams of that. I do 5 grams of the Revive GI Plus, and 10 grams of glutamine. I do that every morning. That's been really good for my gut. So we don't think it's really a digestion issue anymore outside of the last 4 weeks of prep. That's pretty much unfortunately always going to happen, but we found ways to mitigate that. I do think my abdominal midsection just needs a lot of work. So I started that as soon as I got back from Pittsburgh. I do usually about 8 to 10 rounds of vacuums every morning. So I wake up, I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and then I lay on the floor and I do vacuums. And I've been doing that for exactly a week now. And it's made a huge difference on my midsection in just a week. Also, just training my abs more frequently, I really kind of lost that at the end. My core was very weak. I remember doing like a one arm dumbbell row like 2 weeks out, and my core was sore from it. So it was definitely like a sign like, okay, I need to give my abdominals more attention. So that's a big main focus. Now that we've figured out digestion, um, we just need to strengthen my core overall.
Now, did you, during this North Americans, did you get some feedback then from judges? Did they commend you though, kind of on your core and your abdominals from competitions past?
Yeah, so they just said I controlled my midsection great. I actually purchased like the prejudging and night show online so I could watch it. I watched it a couple days ago and I never let it out. Like it was really controlled, sucked in on all my poses. So we did a great job with that. And like I said, we just got to work on strengthening my core now so it becomes easier But other judges' feedback I got was they just said my legs and my back are like pro ready. Uh, in my eyes, they're not, but they said my legs and back are tremendous. Especially in the back poses. I mean, it's pretty, not saying this like an egotistical way, but as soon as we turn around, there's no one on that stage that was going to hang with me that day. And yeah, so just filling out the other areas, filling out overall. I need bigger glutes. I need better abs and better arms.
All right. So let's get into prejudging. So why don't you talk about, you said you had one meal only on prejudging.
Mhm.
But how did everything go in terms of obviously you're in the first call outs. Did they work you guys pretty hard? How many rounds did they take you through in terms of posing? Just walk us through prejudging, and then why don't you share some of your thoughts, Dom, that you had after prejudging?
Yeah, so we were kind of in line to go out on stage, and I'm looking at everyone in my class, and I'm just kind of like, I pretty much knew that I had this because I had put in the work. Um, I was probably the lightest guy in the class, but I had by far the best conditioning. And I was also the shortest too by quite a bit. I'm only 5'5". And we get up on stage, I'm moved right to the center immediately. They only ran us through poses twice. So that generally means they made a pretty quick decision. Um, the black guy that I competed against next to me won the Masters overall, and he looked good. But I still don't think he was close to beating me. So we pretty much knew after prejudging that we had it. So I was ecstatic about that for sure.
So from some of the let me see, Felix was on here I think last week, kind of doing a recap like we're doing right now, and he said there was a pretty long gap between prejudging and the night show. So what did that kind of look like for you in terms of did you just kind of hang out? Did you eat more food? What did that look like in between prejudging and night show, Dom?
Yeah, so this is always my least favorite part of show day. I hate that there's such a big gap, but they actually got us like on stage like an hour and a half earlier at night than last year. We were done by 9:45 at night, and I think last year we finished at 11. So I was happy with that because I didn't show up to the venue till like 7:30. And I get backstage at 8:30 and all the guys are already lined up. I'm like, oh, perfect, we're moving. So just in between, I came back from prejudging. I immediately took a nap because I was tired and I felt like my body got hit by a bus. And I ate another meal, pretty much the same meal I ate for breakfast. So I had fish, rice, mac oil. Um, and then prior, we had another small meal, which was just, this was another small meal we ate before prejudging. It's like 100 grams of rice, some almond butter, and honey. And that was it. That was it.
Did you scroll on Instagram? Did you check out what was going on there? Did you kind of keep off your phone?
I tried to stay off my phone because it's blowing up like crazy, and it pretty much blew up for like, it still is. It still is. So I just really wanted to relax. I was tired, so I tried to stay off as much as I could.
What were Matt's words for you in between prejudging and the night show?
He was just very happy. He told me, I had it. It's like, there's no way you're not going to win. Um, so he was very pleased with how he looked, and glad we got the card, man.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I want to ask you this because the first time that we had a conversation, you were pretty open and candid about, there was I think a prep or two that you dropped out on, and you kind of had to, mend your relationship with Matt in terms of like, hey, I want to continue to work with you, whatever. I mean, do you feel like going through this prep and you guys achieving this pro card together? I mean, has that really strengthened your connection and your bond with Matt Jansen then?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially having him in town. Like, he pretty much, we were side by side the whole time. Like, he went to the gym with me to train with me. I was in his room posing multiple times a day, and we were always driving in the car together with the guy from Generation Iron filming. So it was pretty much just me and Matt a lot of the time. So we got to talk about non-bodybuilding related things like his kids, his family, talk about cars because I love cars. He likes cars. Business, stuff I'm doing with real estate and things like that. So we definitely got to connect on a outside bodybuilding level, more of like a friend level, which was good, man. Because I definitely think that's important at the higher level, like sticking with the same coach. That it is business, but there's also that personal friendship there too.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so the night show comes. Walk us through that. Walk us through some of your thoughts and feelings once they announce you as an IFBB Pro as the winner of the heavyweight division.
So this is actually a pretty cool story. I walked backstage before the night show, and I think he's like one of the ushers or one of the guys working the event for the NPC. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, we're all watching you when you won teams. We've all been watching you come up, and we all saw your post on Instagram, like the judges and people, that you're going to quit bodybuilding." And he's like, "I just want to let you know that you won, and I'm glad you didn't quit because you finally did it." So I had already knew, which is probably why there wasn't like a crazy reaction on stage because I knew. I knew deep down, but then I officially knew. So he told me that, and I got like emotional backstage, and I couldn't believe it. And then like damn, I finally did it. And yeah, we did our routines, which I just completely winged mine like I always do. And we got our awards and got the pro card. It was awesome, man.
What was the overall pose down? What was that like for you?
It was just great to be a part of that. The four guys were really solid. I think the commentators had me in second to Felix. Felix looked great. So yeah, I was happy with it. Of course, I would have loved to win the overall. Um, I was the same weight at prejudging as the night show, like the exact same. So nothing changed in my physique, which was good.
Cool. So you kind of said before I turned on the mic here and hit record that being an IFBB pro, it still kind of hasn't sunk in. That's really what most of the guys say. But I guess looking back, Dom, just on this entire prep, the perfection of this prep, accomplishing the goal that you set out to accomplish, what's a couple takeaways from this prep, from accomplishing the pro card? Like looking back, like what are some takeaways for you personally? Maybe some lessons learned, maybe some things that you want to do better. What say you on that?
Pretty much just realized like when I am perfect and I'm on, like I'm really hard to be beat. Um, that was probably the biggest thing. So I was pretty much just like on autopilot with Matt's directions the entire time. So I know if I just continue to do that, it's gonna be very hard to beat because Matt knows what he's doing. Um, so yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I learned from it.
Okay. So after the competition was over and everything, what was the first food that you kind of had off the normal eating regimen?
So there wasn't much open because everything closed at 10 o'clock in Pittsburgh, but there was a sports bar and there was football games on. So we all went there as a big group. So my fiance was there, my brother-in-law and her dad was there, which is really cool. They came all the way out to watch me. And then I had my training partner come. He was staying with me Monday through Friday. And I had a burger and fries. I was sitting next to Matt. I'm like, dude, I feel so weird to eat this. I haven't ate this food in 16, 17 weeks. So we had a burger and fries and I had a small dessert. And then I went home. I was so tired. It was like 1 in the morning. Saturday we woke up and I had a ginormous breakfast at my favorite breakfast place, which I hadn't eaten at since I won Team Nationals, which is DeLuca's. So we had a big breakfast at 10 a.m. and then I ate another meal, which was dinner at 10 p.m. So I was so full from breakfast. I went about 10 to 12 hours before I ate again. And yeah, we went and got dinner, and then we stayed an extra day, me and my lady did. We drove back Saturday morning, and I fasted Saturday morning till like, not intentionally, just wasn't super hungry, till about 1 o'clock. And then I had 2 meals Saturday, and then I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. So 2 meals Friday and 2 meals Saturday. That was it. I was back on a diet last Sunday.
Yeah, I think I saw you post on your Instagram story something about I don't know, looking forward to getting back on the normal eating or something to that regard. So I think, you know, most of you competitive bodybuilders, it's like it's kind of fun maybe to have a meal or something here and there, but man, like it's just that it's that regimen that makes you guys great. And I'm sure it was kind of a joy to kind of get back on the normal eating program, huh?
Yeah, so we were actually standing in line at Cheesecake Factory, which is my last meal. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, I don't know how people eat like most Americans eat like this every day. I'm like, I'm starting to feel like absolute garbage. And I just like, unfortunately, majority of America is very overweight and eat very unhealthy. I'm like, how do people do this every day? It blows my mind. So yeah, that's what I was posting about because it's just like, damn, like I would literally feel terrible, and I'd be fat because I love food.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was kind of my thought, and right back on Sunday was cardio and diet, and Matt's keeping me very, very light. This morning, I'm 7 pounds over my prejudging weight, and that's literally just all water weight from rehydrating because I was so dehydrated. So I still look like I did about 10 days out. My glutes are still striated. Everything's feathered. So
So that kind of segues into what have you and Matt talked about, Dom, in terms of kind of moving forward as an IFBB pro? Any thoughts of a pro debut? How long are you guys going to take off? What's the details of that up to this point?
yeah, it's definitely something we sat down and discussed after prejudging. I had two options, a 212 and the open, and I'm pretty much a 212 bodybuilder right now. There was just a couple conflicts we kind of came up with. 212 was number one, I'm getting married May 6th the next year, which is the weekend of the New York Pro, which is the peak of the competitive season. So I couldn't prep into a spring show. But if I prepped after the wedding for a 212 show, my options are very limited of what shows I can do because it's winding down. I think there's only like two shows in the US left, maybe three. Um, so my options would be very minimal. So competing, I knew going into the prep, competing in 2023 is out of the question, regardless. So then we kind of was like, we were talking, and for me, bodybuilding's always been about getting as big as I can, strong as I can, maximizing my potential. And I'm only 25 years old. And I'm like, I'm so limited in the 212. Like, that's a small off season away from capping it out. And then I can't get any better, so to speak. And that doesn't interest me at all. Um, Now I realize I'm at a height disadvantage. I'm 5'5.5". Um, you know, Dexter Jackson's 5'6", Branch Warren's 5'6.5", Hottie Chupan's 5'6". So like it can be done. So we just kind of talked, and I'm like, Matt, we're gonna do the open. Now's the time to do it because I have to take next year off regardless. And the biggest thing is just my age. Like I was having a conversation with someone the other day. I'm 25 years old. There's two people on the open pro stage that are in the Olympia that are under 30. And that's Hunter Labrada, who's 29, about to turn 30, and Nick, who's 28. So bodybuilders really don't hit their prime, especially as professional, until they're 30. If you kind of 30 and upwards to the late 30s, I mean, Jay Cutler didn't win his first Olympia till 33. Ronnie was 34. If you look at Branch Warren specifically, he won the team nationals in '93. He turned pro in 2001. So it took him 8 years. And then he didn't do his pro debut till 2004, and he was 30 years old. So I'm already on a faster timeline than that. So I was like, man, we got all the time in the world. I can't compete next year anyways. So if now's the time to do this, let's do it. So we agreed on the open. I'm looking at spring of 2025. So I was 208.6 at prejudging. I need to be on stage at the lowest 225. I'd like to be 230 on stage. Yeah, 5'5", that's huge. If you start comparing height to weight ratios of like, I think Nick told me when he won the Arnold, Nick's 5'7.5", he was 245. So me at 230 on stage, height to size ratio is right up there with the biggest of the biggest. So yeah, the timeline actually worked out perfect. And by the time I made my pro debut in 2025, I will had just turned 28. So I'm not even at prime peak yet. So everyone's like, oh, you're going to jump into a 212 show? I'm like, I'm not just going to jump into something because I'm a pro. Like, I need to be pro ready, and I'm there to win. I'm not there to just do it. I feel like so many people are chasing the stage nowadays, just doing show after show, and they never improve. I'm like, you're the same weight as last year. Like, you're not getting any better. You need to take extended off seasons. So yeah, we're looking at about, it'd be like a 28-month off season and then a prep. So I always say like a pound of muscle a month is really good gains. And if I can do that for the next 2 years, we'll be right at 230 pounds, ready to rock in the open class. One thing about me is I'm way more structured in the off season than a contest prep. It's just how I always have been. So I know I'll be able to do at least 1 pound of muscle a month.
Yeah, I mean, that's 25. That's I got a whole decade on you, man. That's it's got to be, I don't know, like encouraging and exciting. It's like, dude, you're so young, and God willing, there's so much bodybuilding left, and it's going to be exciting to see. Now, I want to ask you, Dom. I saw that you kind of got a YouTube channel up and going. Is that an avenue that you're going to try to utilize to kind of keep yourself relevant and kind of keep yourself in the bodybuilding scene as you take this extended off season? And if so, why don't you just talk about that YouTube channel and maybe some other ways that you're looking to stay a little bit relevant within the bodybuilding community?
Yeah, so I've been posting once or twice a day on Instagram every day, posting on my story routinely. And then a lot of people are always asking me to put content out. I know some people just like say that it's like an excuse to put content out, but like people DM me all the time, like, will you please post training videos again? I'm like, all right. So one of my good friends, Jeff Robinson, who's an incredible photographer, he's shot a lot of pro shows. He owns a powerhouse up here in Milford, Michigan, and we'll be putting out a YouTube video minimum once a week.
Yeah.
And he helps me with a lot of cool photos as well. So we'll be working together closely and just continuing to crank out content. I love getting feedback from people that watch it to know what we can make better with the videos and or the pictures or whatnot. So critiques and recommendations are always welcome. And I've started the YouTube in the past, just wasn't really consistent with it, but we're going to be very consistent with it this time. It's also another avenue for revenue. So having as many streams of revenue as possible is extremely important to me. And it's literally just filming me working out, and I love that.
It doesn't get much better than that, does it, Dom?
No, absolutely.
And is your YouTube channel just your first and last name?
I actually need to check that because he runs. I'm so like illiterate when it comes to. I couldn't even tell you how to upload a YouTube video, man. So let me look real quick.
Yeah, no, go ahead and look, man, because I want to make sure that everybody can go and subscribe to your YouTube channel and support you for sure. So
yeah, it's just my first and last name, Dominic Triveline.
Okay.
So just look up my name on YouTube, it'll go right to my channel. You know, I got about almost 400 subscribers, so not a ton, but just like anything good, it takes time. You know, building wealth takes time, building a great body for the Olympia takes time. So it'll eventually, hopefully, grow over time.
Yep. For sure, man. I mean, it's all about life's all about consistency. Whatever you stay consistent with, you're gonna get results. So okay, a fun question here. I'd like to ask new IFBB pros this. And I saw that you got to see C-Bum when you're down there training at Revive. You had a picture with him on your Instagram. So I know you've trained with Nick Walker. So you've been around the champions and stuff. But was there anybody that congratulated you or started following you on Instagram or sent you a DM on Instagram to congratulate your pro card that maybe you weren't like, oh man, I can't believe this person DM me, but maybe it just really meant a lot to you that they reached out to you after you got your pro card. Anybody come to mind?
So Nick texted me before prejudging saying good luck, and then Nick texted me again that night congratulating me. Hunter Labrada texted me at like 2 in the morning saying welcome to the league. I was like, I woke up to that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, my Instagram blew up with a ton of people following me. I don't think I've been able to keep track of it all. But yeah, those two definitely stood out the most. The coolest part about the C-Bum picture was I walked up to him. He's like, "Are you Dominic?" And I'm like, "You know who I am?" He's like, "Yeah, I know who you are." So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty humbling." Um, but yeah, Nick and Hunter both reached out to me, which was pretty neat. I'm good friends with Derek Lunsford as well. I stayed at his house for a few days, trained with him while he was prepping for the Olympia. So yeah, they're all happy for me.
Yeah, no, that's super cool, man. So we'll kind of start wrapping it up here, Dom. Now I want to touch on you just kind of mentioned the multiple streams of revenue, and I know that you got your license in the state of Florida for real estate.
Mhm.
What are you kind of doing in terms of business outside of bodybuilding to kind of have those multiple streams of revenue coming in and talk about the importance of that because somebody in your position, I think a lot of people they're just like full-time bodybuilder. It's all bodybuilding, but you've really branched out outside of bodybuilding and talk about the importance of that and what are you kind of thinking about or moving towards in terms of business going forward outside of just bodybuilding.
Yeah, so I definitely want to live a particular type of lifestyle that even at the Mr. Olympia level champion would never provide financially. Um, so I always kind of looked at different avenues to create wealth. Um, this past year, I started working in financial services. I was selling life insurance, and I the entire time I lived well below my means, and I was able to save up a ridiculous amount of money. And I have just started my real estate investment business up here in Michigan. I'm actually doing a showing, or I'm going to showings this week to close on 3 units, rental units for my portfolio, single family houses. And it's cool because each unit is going to generate me about 1,700 a month in rent. And I'm just looking at working my way out of the financial service industry because the whole point of me doing that was I had a sales background doing multiple sales jobs, so I'm really good at selling people stuff, so to speak. But now that I have such a savings, I'm able to deploy that money into other investments, which will be real estate to generate income. I still have my online training business as well, which I only keep like 10 guys on at a time. You know, right now I'm a little lower than 10. So I do have, if anyone's interested, I do have room for like two more people. Um, I enjoy doing that and I don't want it to be a full time job, so to speak. So I just kind of cap it at 10. And that kind of just takes care of my bills for me. But yeah, just really branching out into the real estate investment. It's looking like by the end of the year, I'm going to close on at least 10 properties. In a perfect world, I would like to have 15 by Christmas. and those will all generate me about 16 to 1700 a month in rent. Um, so it'll be good, and just keep exploding it from there. 2 years from now, I'd like to have 100 properties under my belt. And at that point, you're pretty much at like what I like to say is F you money kind of thing. Um, and just keep growing that over the years until you're at 500 properties, 1,000 properties, and making seven figures a month. So if there's one thing I love more than bodybuilding, it's making a lot of money, and cars too, of course, which is a big driver for me doing it.
Very cool, man. Sounds a lot like Jay Cutler. I mean,
Absolutely. That's how I kind of looked at it. Jay used to take his prize winnings and invest it right into real estate.
yeah, I
And
mean,
then you look at Ronnie Coleman, who just lived off of bodybuilding. He doesn't live the same lifestyle that Jay does.
right, yeah. No, I mean, Jay Cutler is the epitome of somebody you want to model, bodybuilding and business after for sure. So, all right, I want to give you a chance. Your fiance's name's Christy, is that correct, Dom?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay, why don't you just talk about how important she's been in terms of just helping you be a great bodybuilder, but a great individual, and how integral of a part she played, just in this prep specifically.
I think the most important piece with her in my bodybuilding career is her level of understanding of what I do, because most people don't get what I do. And what I mean by that is understanding of missing out on things because I have to do bodybuilding related stuff, or I'm in prep and I don't want to do anything. I don't want to say our relationship takes a back seat during a contest prep, but like we don't go out on dates and stuff, and like that's hard. So we just kind of find other things to do to spend time together. But for instance, yesterday, my niece turned 1 years old. So we go there, and I have my 6 pack bag loaded with all my meals, and everyone else is eating chocolate cake and shit that looks really good that I wanted to eat, but I didn't. But she would heat up my meals for me. She knew I needed to eat. People just kind of look at me like, what the fuck is he doing? But she's very understanding, like, this is a job. When we go to the gym together, like, there's not much conversation. Like, this is work for me now. Um, Not that I didn't take it seriously in the past, but this is like actually work for me now. So I go to the gym at noon. I have to go at noon because that's when it's dead and no one's going to bother me. Not that I don't like talking to people, but like I said, this is work. And I do the same for her. I make sure her meals are prepped when she goes to school or work, and she makes sure I'm good to go as well. So just her level of understanding of what I'm trying to do, and she's very, very supportive of that, which is huge. I don't think if you don't have the understanding and the support in a relationship, and one person is bodybuilding at a high level, it won't ever work because it's so extreme.
All right, man. I think we kind of covered just about everything I wanted to cover in terms of our conversation, recapping North Americans today. Dom, why don't you give us any final thoughts, any final words that you have, man? And then I'll close this out. So, what do you got for us, man? Just to wrap things up.
It's so cliche, man, but like, don't ever give up, because I almost gave up. I quit bodybuilding for like 4 months, and then last minute decided to start a contest prep, and then I won my pro card. So I knew if I had quit, I would have regretted it. Um, Life is, there's going to be so many times in life where you're down in like just deep in shit and you feel terrible and you just want to give up. And one thing I find is it always gets better. It's, it works like real estate. Real estate is very cyclical in how it happens, how the economy happens, the ups, the downs, the peaks, the valleys, the recessions, the upcomings. And I feel like life is kind of the same way. For me personally, I would be beaten down bad, and then I'd be beaten down a little bit more on top of that before shit got better. But when shit got better, it was really good. So just to give you an example, I came back from Florida in March. I broke, like I had no money. I'm living in a shitbox apartment with my training partner. and I had lost everything that I saved, and like I was starting from zero, and I wasn't bodybuilding. I thought I was done. And then I got a good job selling life insurance. I started to love bodybuilding again. I saved up a stupid amount of money and I turned pro, and I was literally at the lowest of low again. My relationship with my fiance was not good. We didn't even live together during my contest prep. So lowest of low to now highest of high, and things are getting better and better. So we're always going to go through those like peaks and valleys of life, the recessions of life, I should say, in a economical term.
No, nobody could have said it better, Dom. That's facts, man. There's ebbs and flows, ups and downs in life, and you gotta ride those low times out. All right, man. I know you're connected with Raw Revive. You have a discount code. I know that I've used it before. Why don't you give that out? And if people want to connect with you, why don't you give us your Instagram as well, please?
Yeah, so for Revive, it's just Dom Triv, DOMTRIV. And for Raw, it's Dom20. So I actually have a 20% coupon code. Most people only have 10, so you get a little extra discount with me. So make sure you guys use my code. You can follow me on Instagram at Dom_Triveline. I don't really use Facebook anymore because it's become such a toxic atmosphere. So I try to stay off of Facebook now. And then my YouTube channel, which is just Dominic Triveline, which will be pumping out content once a week.
Cool. If somebody wants to connect with you in terms of coaching, you said you had a couple openings. Just connect with you on Instagram, send you a DM.
Yeah, that's going to be the best way. I had a website, it just wasn't getting a lot of traction, so I didn't want to keep paying for something that wasn't getting a lot of traction because all my traction was coming from Instagram. Like they would just message me on Instagram instead of going through the website. So I was like, all right, I'll just go through Instagram then. So you guys just shoot me a message, and we can go over, your plan and everything.
Okay. Cool. All right, Dom, I'm going to do a quick outro, man. Thank you so much for coming on for the third time and kind of just sharing your thoughts about North American, man. Okay.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. I appreciate all of you. I value all of you. If you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and also make sure you share this episode of Dom's on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Dom, tag Behind the Muscle, so that we know that you listened specifically to this episode and found great value in it. Also, if you guys are on YouTube right now, after you hit subscribe on Behind the Muscle podcast, why don't you go over to Dom's YouTube, make sure you follow him, hit that subscribe button on Dom's YouTube. Also, go follow Dom on Instagram. Awesome guy, so young, very talented, and as you can tell, very well-rounded. Getting into that real estate, professional bodybuilder, I think there's a lot for all of us to learn from Dom, and just kind of following along his bodybuilding journey. And then, per the usual, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.